So Crescent Springs, Kentucky. This is a beautiful, beautiful little Kong Armor lifetime deck armor system here that we just finished encapsulating. The theme here on this project was basically restoration. This deck system needed a great deal of restoration. We call this deck rescue painting. Basically, we were coming in to save these owners from facing down what we call tear down to the frame replacement, or here basically floor replacement, cap rail replacement, a great deal of replacement, if not for professional restoration and a coating system that was capable enough to resurface and bring this deck back to vibrant and just a fresh new start. Really, really gorgeous. So I'll tell you guys what we did here. We came in, we utilized washing, and then after the washing process was up, we sent guys around to set down loose nails, loose screws, that type of thing. And over here, in these in the deck post up underneath of here, there was some checking or deck post cracks that existed here. And what we did was we took something we call silverback epoxy, which cures up 3 times harder than concrete, and it's just immensely tough. These posts need 7 to 10,000 psi to reopen back up, the cracks to reopen back up with this silverback epoxy in here. So we drove that down in there, knifed this flat, and closed off. You pull away, you can see the indentations of them, but that's it. They're closed off. All of the post here, all of their large checking and deck post cracks, we closed off with that silverback epoxy. About $220 worth of silverback epoxy filler to fill off the openings in these deck posts. And I can tell you guys, here in Cincinnati and northern Kentucky, nobody's going to do that for you guys besides Kong Armor and our deck rescue painters, because nobody's willing to do anything more than spend $4 or $5 on some caulk, right? But our filler is epoxy because we know that caulk doesn't work on decks. It fails prematurely, right? But then after that, look, we came in and up here, we start getting up here. Look how beautiful this is. Kong Armor lifetime deck armor, a high build, high stretch, industrial grade coating system for decks and outdoor structures, backyard structures, that engulfs and encapsulates everything in this thick build exoskeleton. Look, all the fastener entry points are covered over, all the nail heads are covered over, the bolts covered over and encapsulated. These entry points are closed off, right? But up here is where the majority of the restoration here on this deck system took place. They needed lots of boards replaced in the floor. I think it was like seven of them, maybe a little bit more. 7 16-foot boards in total we replaced in this floor. We gave them all brand new cap rails. So the cap rails that they had here were just chewed up and old and weathered and cracking really bad. We could have resurfaced some of them, but I said, hey, what's the point? Let's just get them new ones. And we just brought in, we make rails lighter, and how we do it is we just simply bring in 6-inch deck boards. They already have the curve on them, so they're already milled. We cut them out real nice and fresh so they look pretty, right? And it works, right? It takes away some of that heaviness of the rails, because those old 2x6s and 2x8s that are custom milled, they're real heavy. And when you got notched over rails that connect to the band boards like this, over the years, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, it'll start to make these kind of make these rails kind of pull away. With these lighter cap rails, nowhere near, it's like 1/4 of the weight, so you don't run that risk of starting to starting to get leaning rails and wobbly rails and all that, right? The other event here was a resurfacing event with the thick build, the ultra tough, the all powerful Kong armor, deck encapsulation armor. This old pine, it was ate up. So what we talk about with pine is it's a very versatile wood, and typically it'll take on a lot of damage in the first quarter of an inch. Below that quarter of an inch, it'll all be fresh and good and viable wood. And what happens is people, they see the weathering of their deck and they think it needs replaced because that first quarter of an inch is ate up. Well, not when you have access to Kong armor, because it's such a powerful resurfacing tool, right? It can resurface these old weathered deck systems and just bring them roaring back to life, right? But we came in, used this high build, ultra tough Kong armor, lifetime deck armor system, and worked hard to press into the cracks and then into the fastener entry points. Look at our fastener entry points, completely closed off, true water lock, where water can't get to those anymore and cause rust and then board rot, right? But Kong has unbelievably rebuilt the surface of this old weathered deck. It practically looks new, pretty much. This pretty much looks new. High build, ultra tough, right? We talked about the true water lock with the fasteners. First in class UV deflection. The sun drops UV rays that degrades the adhesion of coatings. What's cool about Kong armor is when it does, we have deflectors throughout the film of Kong armor that'll deflect them back into the atmosphere. First in class in stretch, expansion and contraction ability. So when your deck boards, when the planks expand and contract, Kong can elongate with them, right, up to 300%, and contract limitlessly, right? That's thanks to polymer fusion, which is very similar to what Stretch Armstrong, if you guys remember him, that toy back in the 80s and 90s, what he had, he was fused together. His polymers were fused together. So we got that same high stretch technology. Tough film technology, look how beautiful. Just high build and gorgeous everywhere, right? Tough film technology that's rated to take on wind-driven rain, sleet, ice, hail, up to hurricane wind speeds and beyond. Most importantly, Kong, well, it's rated for foot traffic. It's designed for the American family and their foot traffic. Their feet, their shoes, the dogs. It's designed to take on all of that 30 to 50 times thicker than thin residential deck paints and stains. And guess what? It's the only deck coating system that we're aware of anywhere on the planet that's locally backed via lifetime limited warranty and lifetime service promise. The very same guys that apply it, we have a local dealership here in Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati. It's our proprietary coating system, and we service it here throughout the tri-state. We stay with our lifetime deck armor system owners. We stay with them for life. We provide them warranty, service for their film anytime they need it. Guess what that does? That creates a situation where they never have to go through complete refinishing, repainting, restaining of their deck system with thin residential deck paints and stains and end back up in that vicious cycle. No, once and done, right? But here's the deal. We can only preach so much about it. We can only preach so much about the benefits of Kong armor to you guys. And we do this time and time again, make video after video and show you these old weathered, dilapidated deck systems and how we turn them into drop dead gorgeous structures, how we use the most expensive filler, how we use the best coating system in the world, how we give you the only true warranty for a deck coating system that exists on the planet, how we give you the only true service promise and continual care program that's locally backed that exists on the planet. But if we can't drive you guys to the website to sign up for a free quote, well, it's all for naught, right? So, right here, kongarmor.com. Get there and sign up for a free quote. You don't need deck replacement. If you have peeling deck paint, old weathered wood, you don't, we can help you. Go to callingarmor.com now.